Hello there. Welcome to the Saroy channel, wherever you are in the world, and so much love to each and every one of you. For those of you that like to get to the juicy story where you have the straightforward Bigfoot encounter, well, I've got that for you on this channel right now. But the full stories are really worth listening to, and I've got them listed at the bottom, because really, just the Bigfoot encounter without the whole experience from the beginning to the middle and the end is really worth listening to. But if you just want to get to the juicy encounter that people have sent in to me, by all means, here are a few examples of them right now on my channel. So get straight into the business, shall we? And let's get started.
Where in the heck did she go? And who on earth is she? I asked Natasha. I know she was an angel, said Natasha, smiling. I really believe she was. What else could she possibly be? She didn't come here in a car. There's no way. She didn't have any physical transportation. We're quite literally in the middle of nowhere. She then just vanishes into thin air. You chase after her and then she's gone. Where could she possibly have gone to? Notice the words she used. They invoked some kind of divine knowledge and sagacity, didn't you not think? There was something about her that was extremely warming, didn't you sense? She had to be an angel. What else could she have been? Well, what was she doing here then, I asked. I think she came here for you. I believe she wants us to speak healing words over your body. I think she was telling us that you can be healed by the power of words. It wasn't an accident that she visited us. It was like she knew all about us, with an infinite divine proficiency, unlike anything I've ever discerned before. None of this makes any sense to me, I said. It's all decidedly odd. Why would an angel visit me of all people? I'm as boringly ordinary as you can get. There's nothing special about me at all that warrants angelic attention. I doubt she'd agree with you there, laughed Natasha. Every living thing has got to have worth in the eyes of God, surely. After that strange visitation, Natasha insisted that I spoke to my body every single day, which is exactly what I did, more to humour her than myself, of course. I would say this mantra about 50 times a day. I'm so grateful that my body is thriving. I'm so grateful that my head is clear. I'm so happy that my body is healthy, and that I've absolutely nothing to fear. All is well with my body, mind and spirit, and every cell in my body reflects health, vitality, and energy. Natasha and I decided we loved the clearing by the lake so very much that we decided we would spend the next couple of days there. I think we were secretly hoping for another visitation from the extraordinary Mary, but that never transpired. We did, however, have a visitation of a completely different kind, in a way that you could never imagine possible. And what visited us was a question that we would wonder about for many years to come, until the year 2005, when the answer was made very apparent to us. It was on the second day when we were sitting by the fire pit in the very early evening, when we watched a wild duck skimming across the water with her large brood of cute ducklings, that both Natasha and I were oohing and ahhing about in absolute delight, because these fluffy little ducklings were the cutest things I'd seen. Suddenly we heard this loud splashing sound, as if something very hefty had dived into the water, something weighty and colossal. "Look over there," said Natasha. "It's a massive giant otter. Look, near the large cluster of reeds." I saw a creature that almost looked humanoid. It was standing up in the shallow part of the water, only a few 100 yards away from the clearing. It looked so human-like, but it was gigantic, and it had long, wet, dark, bedraggled hair. It was ponderously huge, bulky, and incredibly brawny. "What on earth is that?" I asked Natasha. "There's no way that's a giant otter. It's a giant human of some kind." Using our flashlight, we studied the curious creature that appeared to be so preoccupied with ducking and diving under the water, and whatever it was, it swam with agility and grace and purposeful intent. It must have seen our flashlight darting across the lake, because it did glance briefly in our direction, and we observed a very distinct red eye shine. Suddenly the riverbank was assaulted by an avalanche of large fish, which the creature appeared to be throwing gently towards the bank, and we could hear the fish plopping on the ground very lightly, like soft hailstones hitting the ground. "He's catching those fish with his bare hands under the water. How the heck does he do that without a rod?" asked Natasha, looking at me in astonishment. Well, I suppose that's what he does, I said. A few more fish went flying towards the bank, and then once the creature had finished his fishing, he strided towards the bank, and he was a little too far away for us to get a good view of him, which was regrettable. I was about to express my reproach for not getting a good view of the creature, when suddenly we heard heavy feet striding directly towards us, and there he was, standing yards away from us, and in one hand he had 15 large fish all tied together. For a long while he stood there staring at us. The creature was definitely not a large otter, nor was he entirely human. He was like an amalgamation of human and ape DNA. He was powerful, strong, athletic and majestic, and I would say he was about 900 pounds, 8 foot tall and 4 foot wide. He had dark black-brown hair that looked like human hair when it was wet, very overlong arms typical of the primate species, and a very powerful, sturdy, muscular torso, and strong, pronounced shoulders, as well as a very distinctive cone-shaped head. I did think the long, hairless, grey-coloured face was extraordinarily human-like, apart from the prominent brow ridge and the very flat nose. The creature had dark, deep-set eyes, and a very slender, human-like mouth. I guess Natasha and I should have been terrified by this potentially very dangerous, intimidating beast. Yet although he was majestic and powerful, exactly like a lion, he did possess very personable qualities that made him very relatable to us because of his evident humanness. I think the humanity in this creature was clearly sensed and seen in the non-verbal communication that we all engaged in together. As strange and as odd as this may sound to you, we did not need to articulate, as our heightened sensory perception was our communication. I could appreciate that this creature did have emotions and feelings just like a human, yet it was extremely intelligent and very perceptive. I sensed it was studying us with a keen interest, and I'm almost certain it heeded things about us that we don't even know about ourselves, because I felt it was looking through us. The creature did pull away 2 large fish from its fish stack, and walked over directly to Natasha and handed 2 massive tiger trout fish to her. Just like that, and then he glided away in the woods. Natasha and I were so ecstatic. "He gave us 2 fish," she cried out in delight. "He gave us 2 beautiful tiger trout." We were both dancing up and down for absolute joy in the clearing because a humanoid ape had given us 2 fish. I promise you, if you would have observed us, you would have certainly ascertained that we had won the lottery, and you would have been wrong. I know it sounds pathetic and silly, but for Natasha and I, this was an incredible moment for us. All we could do that night was discuss the creature over and over again. What was it? We kept saying to each other. What was it? What on earth was it? We cooked the beautiful fish over the grill on our fire pit, and indeed I have never tasted a more delicious or succulent fish. We ate it with lots of lemon butter and melted garlic. It was flaky and tender. It was scrumptious and delicious, the most memorable meal I've ever had. But wasn't that the most extraordinary act of kindness, that we were given 2 fish by a humanoid ape? Think about that for a moment. What animal gives some of its hunt to you? None that I can think of, but this creature had given us 2 of its spoil.
So there we are. That's the juicy bits of our stories tonight. I personally think you should go back and listen to the whole story because it makes it so much more exciting, because then you learn all about where it happened, the location, and all about the fabulous characters involved in the story. And that makes the story so much more gripping. But as I say so, go down to the description and then click on to the YouTube link, and then you will hear the whole story. Until next time, goodbye and good night.